You can spend an hour with someone and feel completely exhausted afterwards. Not physically, but mentally, emotionally, like your energy has just been pulled out of you. And the strange thing is, it's not always obvious why. The conversation might seem normal. Nothing dramatic happened, no arguments, no clear tension. But when you walk away, you feel heavy, flat, drained. And you start wondering, why does this happen with certain people, but not others? Because with some people, you feel lighter, more yourself, more relaxed. But with others, it's different. And a big part of that comes down to how much of yourself you're having to manage in that interaction. With the people who drain you, you're often not fully at ease. You're filtering what you say, thinking carefully about how you come across, adjusting your behavior to keep things smooth. You might not even realize you're doing it, but your mind is working the whole time, monitoring, adapting, holding things back. And that takes energy, a lot more than just being yourself. Another reason is emotional load. Some people bring a lot with them: stress, negativity, complaints, or constant problems that never seem to resolve. And without meaning to, you start carrying some of that, listening, supporting, absorbing. And over time, that builds up, especially if the dynamic is one-sided. If you're always the one listening, always the one understanding, always the one keeping things together, that can leave you feeling depleted, because connection should go both ways, not just in conversation, but in emotional space. There's also the role of tension. Not obvious tension, but subtle tension. Maybe you feel judged, or slightly uncomfortable, or like you're not quite able to relax. Even if nothing is being said directly, your brain picks up on it. And when it does, it goes into a kind of alert mode. You become more aware, more cautious, more controlled. And again, that uses energy. Because you're not just having a conversation, you're managing the environment, trying to keep things stable. There's also something else that's easy to miss. Sometimes, certain people reflect parts of you that you're unsure about. They might trigger comparison or insecurity or self-doubt. And even if you don't consciously notice it, your mind reacts. You start questioning yourself more, thinking more, trying to measure up. And that internal process can be exhausting because it doesn't switch off during the interaction. It runs quietly in the background. There's also the pace of the interaction. Some people don't leave much space. They talk over you, interrupt, shift the focus back to themselves. And you end up trying to find your place in the conversation, trying to be heard, trying to keep up. And that can feel draining too, because instead of a natural flow, it becomes effort. And maybe the most important part of all this is boundaries. With the people who drain you, there's often a lack of them. Not necessarily because the other person is doing something wrong, but because you're allowing more than you're comfortable with. You stay longer than you want to. You listen more than you have capacity for. You say yes when you'd rather say no. And each time you do that, you give a little bit more of your energy away, until there's not much left. So when you leave, you feel it, that drop, that sense of being drained. But here's the shift. It's not just about who those people are. It's about how you show up around them. Because the same person might not drain someone else in the same way. And that's not about blame, it's about awareness. Noticing when you start to feel that tension, that effort, that internal pressure. And slowly adjusting. Saying a little less when you need to. Leaving a bit earlier. Not taking on everything that's being given to you. Because your energy isn't unlimited, and not every interaction deserves the same amount of it. So if you've been feeling drained around certain people, it doesn't mean you're weak, and it doesn't mean you have to cut everyone off. It just means something in that dynamic isn't quite balanced. And once you start to see that clearly, you get some control back over how much you give, over how long you stay, over how you protect your own space. Because the goal isn't to avoid people, it's to be around people without losing yourself in the process. And that's what keeps your energy where it belongs, with you.